Hey guys, this is a video of the first 3 pages of the Unit 6 review packet. So I'm just going to go straight through. I'm going to try to get done in one video. If it cuts off, I'll start a second one. I'm not going to do the last page just because we already went over it in class together. So let's get started from the top. It says, answer the following questions given that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. Hint, draw a picture. So let me draw a quick picture. Here's triangle ABC. And then I have triangle DEF. And we know that these two triangles are congruent, which means all of their corresponding parts are congruent. So for instance, AB, the first 2 letters, is going to be congruent to segment DE, the first 2 letters of this one. Segment BC will be congruent to segment EF. And segment AC will be congruent to segment. So how many pairs of corresponding parts do these two triangles have? Well, let's remember, we don't just have corresponding sides. We have 3 sets of corresponding sides. But we also have 3 sets of corresponding angles. So angle A is congruent to angle D, the first 2 letters, B and E, the second 2 sets of letters, and then, sorry, I was supposed to put, I'll do 3 here, so then 2 and 2. Okay, so we have 3 sets of corresponding sides, 3 sets of corresponding angles, so we have a total of 6 corresponding parts that will be congruent. Okay, well, segment CA is going to be congruent to what? Well, CA is the last of the first letter, so it's going to be the last of the first letter, segment FD. If segment CB is 34, the length of segment CB, what other side has a length of 34? Well, it's going to be the other one with 2 tick marks, which is EF. And BC, the second 2 letters, lines up with EF. So EF is its corresponding side. It will also have a length of 34. So segment EF. Okay. What angle corresponds to angle BCA? Well, angle BCA is capturing this 2-arced angle, angle C, so B to C to A. That's going to be F. So since B, we went from 3 to 2 to 1, 3 to 2 to 1, so 3 to 2 to 1. Angle EFD, that's going to capture this angle right here. And if you just look here, you'll notice, look, B and E correspond, C and F, and you can just line it up in that name. But sometimes the picture is helpful. Okay, which side is included by angle ACB? Well, angle ACB, that's this angle. Angle BAC, that's this angle here. So it says what side is included, which means which side is in between these 2 angles. Well, segment AC is going to be in between those 2 angles. Okay, what angle is included by segment FE and segment DE? Well, segment FE is here. Segment DE is here, so what angle is included, what angle is directly in between? Well, those 2 sides meet at angle E, so we can just call it angle E. Okay, let's keep going. Identify the correct corresponding parts. Well, since TH are the last of the first letters, we need the last of the first, so it's going to be corresponding segment D or GD. Here, angle X, it's going to correspond to angle P, because remember, order matters in a congruency statement. Okay. Segment GE is going to correspond with segment CA. Angle PHO will correspond with BDA. So notice how I followed that order. So angle PHO with angle BDA. Okay, write a congruency statement for the following pairs of congruent triangles. I like to do 1 tick mark, 2 tick marks, 3 tick marks. So triangle STU is going to be congruent to triangle 1, 2, 3. So SDE. I got all my corresponding parts lined up. So let's do that again. Angle GIH 1, 2, 3. UHS. Now the order doesn't matter as long as the parts, so what I mean by that is you could start with any of these letters, you could start with H, but if H is first, S has to be first. If I is first, H has to be first. Make sure your parts correspond. Okay, describe in your own words what it means for an angle to be an included angle. I want you to do that yourself. Okay, so I'm going to go to page 2. says, are the triangle pairs congruent? If so, give a reason and write a triangle congruency statement. We'll do that for the ones at the very bottom. Remember, order matters. If you cannot prove congruent, state why not. Well, we accidentally started with a tricky one. We need to mark our congruent pieces that aren't already marked, so like we know that vertical angles are going to be congruent. But you'll notice I have one tick mark here. I don't have a one tick mark side in this triangle. All I have is that this is an isosceles triangle. I have two tick marks here, two tick marks here. That just tells me that this is an isosceles. But I don't have like one tick mark here, one here, two here, two here. So these are two different sized isosceles triangles. So these are not going to be congruent. They're actually just going to be similar triangles. So no, and we don't have to give a reason because they weren't congruent. Okay, number 15, we need to mark our shared side. Once we do that, we should be able to say, yep, they're congruent because we have S. We have 3 sets of sides that correspond and are congruent. Number 16, we need to mark our shared side. I have angle, side, angle. Remember that order matters. This is an included side, so angle, side, angle. Number 17, we have a shared side. So I'm going to have, if I look at just the top, I have an angle and 2 sides. This isn't directly in between, so it's going to be ASS. So remember, ASS is no good, but because we have a right angle here, it's going to be our special case HL. So are they congruent? Yes, my reason is HL. Now remember, not all right triangles are going to be HL. It has to be with ASS and a right triangle in order to get HL. Okay, number 18, I'm going to mark my vertical angles. I have AAA, 3 sets of angles, but remember that's not one of our congruency postulates, so it's not going to be congruent. You can put your reason as AAA, but you don't have to. Okay. Number 19, I'm looking at my picture. I only have 2 pieces of information here, 2 pieces of information here. They do match up, but in order to have a congruence, we have to have 3 pieces of information. We only have 2. So congruent, no. And a good shorthand is NEI. It stands for not enough information. Okay, number 20, segment AC. This is going to get a little tricky. So this thing here, segment AC, is congruent to segment BD. So those are the same. Segment AD is congruent to segment BC. And we have a pair of shared sides down here. Now I know it's a little hard to see now, but we have a triangle here. And we know that this whole side there, segment DB, is the same as this whole side here. So hopefully you can now see my 2 triangles. And those 2 triangles are going to be congruent because we have SSS. Because remember, this whole side here is congruent to this whole side here. Now I need a congruency statement. So I'm going to do DAB. I like doing DAB because it goes across the side with 1 arc and then the side with 2 tick marks. And it's going to be congruent to segment, or to triangle. D was we went across the 1 and the 2, so we have to go across the 1 and the 2 in the pink. So CBA. Okay, number 21. It says segment AD is parallel to segment BC. Remember, that doesn't mean those 2 segments are the same length. It just means they're going in the same direction and they're never going to intersect. Segment AB is congruent to segment DC. I don't have any vertical angles, but I do have a shared side. And when I have parallel lines, remember most of the time we're going to find alternate interior angles, and we do that by creating the Z pattern. And that Z is going to capture my alternate interior angle. So it has to be between the 2 yellow. I couldn't do this one because that one's not yellow, so here. Okay, so we have to figure out if it's congruent. I have 2 sets of sides and an angle. It's not included. That's ASS. And it's not a right triangle, so no, it's not congruent. My reason is because of ASS. Congruency statement, oh, nope, they weren't congruent. Okay, 22, D is the midpoint of segment BC. That means this cuts this segment into 2 congruent pieces. Those are the 2 halves. Now let's see if it's congruent. I have ASS, oop, and it's a right triangle, so yes, it's congruent by our special case HL. I'm going to do ABD. A, B, D. E is going to correspond with A. C, the right angle, is going to correspond with B. And then D will correspond with itself. Okay, very nice. We got 1 more page. So we started these in class today. And it says, use what you know about about congruent triangles. Fix that if you want. And CPCTC to solve for the unknown variables. Remember to box your final answer. Okay, so 23 says solve for x given that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle FGH. Well, let's take a look. We know that segment AB corresponds with segment FG because of the first two letters in our congruency statement. Similarly, segment BC is going to match up to GH, and segment AC is going to go with FH. Now, if you look at this, you can tell it's not drawn to scale. Clearly, those two yellows don't look like they're the same, but the purpose of this problem is to make sure you're matching it up based on the congruency statement. So, let's set some things equal. So the pinks will be equal, the yellows will be equal, and the blues will be equal. Well, the pink, we have x and 10, so that means x is just going to equal 10. Y is blue, 17 is blue, so y equals 17. 24, solve for x given that triangle ABD is congruent to triangle CBD. Well, as long as these two corresponding parts are congruent, or sorry, these two parts are corresponding, then they're going to be congruent. We can set them equal. So let's check. We've got A, B, D, C, D, B, C, D, B. Yep. So notice B, the middle letter, matches up with D, the middle letter. Yep. These are going to be corresponding parts, which means they're going to be congruent. That's what CPCTC says. Remember, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Divide both sides by 5, and we're going to get x equals 15. Okay, let's keep going. Sorry, the paper's going to look crooked. Okay, 25. Solve for x and y given that segment triangle XYZ is congruent to triangle FED. So we're going to have segment FE. We're going to have segment YZ with segment ED. And then we're going to have segment XZ, the first and the last, with segment FD, the first and the last. Okay, let's see if we have any corresponding parts we can set equal. Well, these are both blue sides, so I can say 3x equals 9. X is just going to equal 3. Let's see if these angles correspond. This is between yellow and pink, and D is the last letter, Z is the last letter. I know these two are congruent corresponding angles, so I can say that 30 equals 2y. I divide both sides by 2, and I get y equals 15. Okay, let's look at number 26. It says solve for x. Well, x is an angle D, and D, the first letter, is going to go with C, the first letter, so it's going to match up with this angle here. So I need to set 9x equal to 27. If I divide both sides by 9, I'm going to get x equals 3. Now in this problem, you'll notice this 81 we never used. Sometimes we're not going to use all the information the picture gives us, but we know that D and C correspond because they're the same spot in our congruency statement, so we can set them equal and solve. Okay, number 27 says triangle PQR is congruent to triangle XYZ. Solve for X, Y, and Z. So notice we're solving for lowercase x, y, and z. Okay, PQ, the first two letters. Or you know what, why don't we do this this time? This is all angles, so why don't we do angle P is going to match up with angle X. Angle Q is going to match up with angle Y. And angle R is going to match up with angle Z. Why don't we do X first? So X is in a pink, so the two pinks we can set equal. I'm going to divide both sides by 15, and I get x equals 5. Let's do y. Y is yellow, so the two yellows are going to be set equal. I'm going to divide both sides by 5, and I get 17. Don't forget, you'll get a calculator on the test, so don't worry about the division. Don't let that part stress you out. Make sure you can set up these equations. Now we're solving for z. Z is blue, 20 is blue, so we're just going to say z equals. Okay, 28. Solve for x, y, and z given that segment AD is congruent to segment FD. Segment BC is congruent to segment DE. Segment AC, the first and the last. FE, the first and the last. Those will be congruent as well. So now we're just going to match up our colors because we know our corresponding parts will be congruent because we know there's congruent triangles. That's CPCTC. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, let's start with x, which is yellow. So 3x minus 2 is going to equal 13. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. and divide by 3. Y is on the blue side, so the blue sides are going to be equal because they're corresponding parts. We're going to add 5 to both sides. I'm going to divide both sides by 9, and I get y equals 3. Lastly, we're solving for z, which is pink, so 10z equals 25. I divide both sides by 10. Now remember, when we divide by 10, it's the same as moving our decimal place over 1. So if I move it over 1, I get 2.5. But again, you're going to get to use a calculator, so don't let that algebra or that arithmetic bother you. Pages 1, 2, and 3, I hope that was helpful, and we'll review this in class next time.